What's up, everybody, and welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm talking about a user-asked topic, which is specifically how to get better at flow when flipping. And obviously, I am no god of flow, as you can see, but I do try my best to, have a nice kind of flowy style where I go from one trick to another in a relatively, nice and pleasing fashion. And I think that's something that's kind of hard to develop. But it's something that can pay dividends if you do spend the time to develop it. And so what I wanted to talk about is like how to practice for that and how to get better at, connecting tricks together and making yourself be able to flip in a flowy way. And so the first one is how to get started, right? If you are a very beginner in terms of your flipping, what's a good way to get into more flowy style flipping? And this comes into a discussion that I had with Brandon not too long ago, which was about, he tried learning the behind the eight ball, which he's been getting better at. But he specifically said to me, he said, "Will, you said that the behind the eight ball is a good beginner move. Why did you say that?" Because it's not. It's really hard. And I was like, you know what, Brandon, that's right. You have a good point there. The behind the eight ball is very hard. But that's not the reason that I suggested it as a beginner move. The reason that I suggest the behind the eight ball is one of the first things you should learn when you get into flipping. After some of the more basic stuff like learning the chaplain or learning to do like a short stop, or even just stuff like a simple aerial or the standard open. These different tricks all kind of come together in what becomes the behind the eight ball. And the reason that I think the behind the eight ball is so important is because it teaches you all of these things that later become very valuable in terms of smoothly flipping and going from combo to combo. So what you end up doing when you learn the behind the eight ball, right, is you're going under your finger and around, and then you're transferring that to your thumb, and then you're going around twice, and then you're doing a wrist pass and catching it open. And the thing about the behind the eight ball is that it requires a handle switch within it, which means that you have to, at some point, be flipping with the bite handle, which is important to learn how to do, right? You need to learn how to flip with the bite handle because throughout your different tricks, you are going to be using it. And so if you don't know, how to deal with holding the bite handle and how to do like a proper, wrist pass and stuff, you're going to have a bad time. And so that's why learning the behind the eight ball is so important, because all of these different parts of it, if you can do a smooth behind the eight ball, well, suddenly you can connect together a bunch of different tricks. That's also where the my thing from the very first, the Balisong 101 video, the thumb rollover to first finger rollover, like that little thing right there. So first finger, thumb, first finger, thumb. This little combo right here is one of the best things you can learn, and it's very similar to the behind the eight ball in terms of transferring that momentum. Because being able to smoothly transition the knife from combo to combo, from trick to trick, requires you to be able to do stuff like this, where you can smoothly transition that momentum from one to the other. And the only way that you can learn to do that is utilizing practice and doing it over and over again until you understand both the weight and the way it moves and also the timing that you need to have. And so, yeah, in terms of doing, smoother flipping, I think the starting point is going to be the behind the eight ball for most people. It's going to teach you to change the momentum of the knife between grips. It's going to do a lot for you in terms of adding to that smoothness. You can see if I do something like my underhand ladder, right? So here's a little thing that I do all the time. I'll do my little underhand ladder. And then what I'll do, so underhand ladder, I'll stop it right about here. So now I'm grabbing it, and I'll whip the knife around, and I'll throw it over my thumb, and then go underneath, and now I'm basically doing a cherry picker. And like, those are the kinds of things where all of those little moves are added together using stuff that I learned by doing behind the eight balls, right? All of the connecting tissue, all of the moves between the moves are all done using rollovers and just small things that you learn that help you connect, different parts together. And so that is something that I think is incredibly important, is just learning stuff like the behind the eight ball and the cherry picker that really helps you kind of, you know, connect the dots. Then the second part is, okay, so now you know that. Well, how do you take all of these different combos that you have and connect them together, right? So like, for me, something that's always been difficult is this guy right here, the palm spin that I do. It's a very disjointed trick, okay? And so initially when I learned it, all that I could do was do it up, and then I would kind of catch the knife like this, and it would be kind of useless. It wouldn't go anywhere. And then over time, I learned that I could swing it into this grip, right? So now I'm catching it downwards, and so I'm adding another layer to it, so it goes to here. All right, well, now that I've got it falling to there, what if I add an aerial? And so what I'd do is I'd get it to here, and then I'd throw it up into an aerial. And so suddenly I've got a whole thing coming out of this one trick, because I'm just adding one piece at a time. And then it's like, okay, well, now that I'm in the aerial, I've landed in the ice pick grip. Well, how do I get out of that? Well, if I let go of one handle and dip it, I can go around my thumb, and immediately we're into some kind of combo, doing some kind of something, whatever, you know? And it's like, essentially all I'm doing is taking a building block and then pushing forward. I'm just going one part at a time. Like, okay, so I can do a choker fan, right? So choker fan, great, choker fan, cool. What do I do from there? Well, I end the choker fan here. So obviously I could just do the normal out where I kind of flip it open, but what if I'm doing the choker fan and I'm ending it here and I'm holding the safe handle, and it looks like this could like flip back over my fingers. So what if I tried that? Oh, okay, so then I can like, yeah, and now I can choker fan into Chaplain. What if I practice that? Will I be able to get better at doing something like that, right? And so that's all it is just seeing an opportunity and being like, oh, well, what if I practice this? And then trying to practice it and, you know, working through it and figuring out, oh, does this work? Does that work? You know, exploring your options, exploring what you can do, and taking it slow. Taking it slow is one of the best things you can do when you're getting started. You know, take it one step at a time. Start a move, land that move, figure out where you are when you land that move, and where can you go from there, and take it one step at a time and do that. And it's a slow process, but it's an important process that builds those cognitive pathways in terms of making everything you're doing automatic instead of something that you have to constantly be thinking about. And that's how I'm able to like sit here and talk to you for extended periods of time and not stop flipping, because I'm not thinking about what I'm doing when I'm flipping necessarily. I'm just doing it because those cognitive pathways have already been developed. I've been doing it for such a long time that all of this is almost automatic to me. And so that kind of stuff is extremely important if you want to get, you know, good at doing very flowy and smooth stylings and like making that all happen easily and fluidly without you having to like really try. It's just about repetition. It's about taking it one step at a time, taking it slow, and then building those blocks up until you have enough of the blocks that as you flip, you don't ever really hit a dead end. You always find a outro. And I think that's something that you can do also in terms of practicing, is like flip until you hit that dead end, right? So if I go to like here, well, where am I? Okay, so I'm holding the knife like this. I could whip out of it backwards, or I could keep going forwards and maybe even chaplain around my middle finger. Maybe I'll try that. So I'll go like forwards and then chaplain around my middle finger. Nice. And then I'm here. What can I do from there? Well, I could roll it back and then chaplain again, or I could put my thumb down here and like back roll it over my thumb. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. And so I'm like chaplain here, and then back over my thumb, and then I throw it into an aerial and catch it into a chaplain, like that kind of thing. It's like, okay, find a dead end, and now how do you get out of that dead end? And then do that over and over again, right? Flip until you find the dead end, and then instead of like stopping your combo, instead of closing the knife in whatever position, just stop in that dead end and be like, okay, where can I go from here? What can I do that's creative? I could throw it backwards over my finger, and then forwards over my thumb, and then maybe I throw it around my thumb and then put it under my finger. And, oh, what do I do from here? Well, I could go back over my middle finger. That's interesting. And now I'm holding the bite handle, so maybe I could even bring in my other hand here and then do a fan out of it, and then another fan. Like, you know, there's just a lot of opportunities that you can do, and a lot of cool things that you can, like, make happen that you don't ever get to if you don't just take a moment to stop and look at what you're doing and be like, okay, where do I go from here? So, yeah. that's pretty much all of my advice in terms of that, is just take it one step at a time, try to find places that you can go and build up those pathways. And then on top of that, learn the behind the eight ball, because that's like gonna be the move that gets you going in terms of having nice and smooth flipping and stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one. So thank you guys for watching, and thank you for submitting that question, because it was very helpful, and I hope that this video helped some of you. So yeah, that's pretty much it for now. Peace.